Hello everybody and welcome back to another video from Nicholas's Train channel. In today's video we're going to be doing a well overdue layout update. Now it's been about 6-7 months or so since my previous layout update. I believe the last one I did was in February, so it's been a long time. So I thought it's about time I get a layout update out. So a lot has actually happened on and off layout since the previous update in February, so this is probably going to be a big one, so I hope you guys enjoy. So with that, let's get into the update, shall we? Alright, so basically with this update I'm going to start off with what I've done on the layout, and then we'll get into like all the rolling stock projects, etc. So first off, I'm going to talk about the completion of the low relief high street. So as you can see in this shot here, we got my high-rise apartment. Now, you've all seen this before, so I finally got that one into its proper final position, so I'm really pleased with that. And to finish it off, I've just put some figures and stuff on it. No idea how well you can see, maybe if I just zoom in a bit. Yeah, you can probably see that a bit better. And then, moving on, we've got the Metcalf terrace houses. So these actually have a little video series, a two-part series that I did on how to turn the low relief Metcalf terrace houses into ultra low relief terrace houses, and I'll leave a link to the two videos that I did on those in the corner up there. So if you want to know more about those, and please feel free to check out those videos. And then if we move here to these four, get them in shot. Those are now in their final positions. So we've got the auto body store, and we've got the shop there. Now, I am trying to Australianise this layout, so I'm going to be getting rid of the Sainsbury's and making that either a Coles or a Woolworths. I've already done the post office, so that was Royal Mail, that's now been turned into Australia Post. And then this one down here, that's just remained the same. So I finally got the High Street done, which is something I really wanted to get done, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. So that's now a big milestone ticked off for the layouts development. Alright, so as part of the layouts development / Australianisation program, one thing I've done is I've actually renamed the layout. So basically part of that was renaming the station and putting new station signs in. So I've decided to call the layout Wagon, and the reason why I've called it Wagon is because I've actually been to the real station before on the Gippsland line when I went to ride the snow train. And secondly, Wagon during the period that I modelled actually had a locomotive depot, so I felt that calling this layout Wagon would be very fitting, because Wagon had a locomotive depot next to the station, and so does my layout. So yeah, that's kind of why I called it Wagon. Now the signs, that was just a piece of sprue left over from a plastic kit. The signs were made in Microsoft Word. Those are pretty simple to make, and overall I think they turned out pretty nice. And as well as doing the station signs, there's also other various signs on the layout. So the diesel depot has its own sign, the station has other various signs, etc. So overall, I think they look good, and yeah, they look very Australian, I guess you could say. So yeah, those turned out great, and I really like them. Alright, so as part of the layouts development, one thing I've been having a problem with is the station, particularly the track plan. Now, when I designed this layout, I designed it with 4-track station, and I had all these grand ideas basically, and I was able to cram in the 4 tracks, but because of that, underneath the town scene, it's made the curves extremely tight, meaning trains have issues, so there's just a lot of derailing under there, and that's kind of frustrating. So what I've done is I've come up with a plan. So basically I'm going to be getting rid of this entire station basically. So all the track that's going to go, although I will be reusing it, and I'm going to be redesigning the track to a completely new design. So as you can see here on this plan that I've drawn up, so this area here is where the fiddle yard is, so those curves will stay, and then on the track plan currently there's 2 points, so one here and one here, that branches out to 4 tracks. Although I'm going to get rid of those and just have it so that these curves are just continuous. And then when they get to about here or so, they're going to widen up, so I can put in an island platform, and then there'll be a point here somewhere that will go to the depot, and then because this is an Australian layout, particularly Victorian railways, and they're going to have another point that branches off from the depot that goes to a goods shed. So I actually do have a goods shed, and I've also got a new station building, and I'll talk about those a little bit later. So this plan should hopefully work, and it means running trains should be a lot better, and I shouldn't have any of the issues that I had with the current setup that I've got now. So this will get started in the next few weeks, and there's a few things I still need to buy for it, and once I get those, we'll then get started on it. But I'm very excited to get started on this one. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about locomotive and rolling stock projects. So just going to quickly recap on these. Now, I haven't actually made any progress on these since the previous update. So this has been repainted since, well, obviously I repainted it before last update, but I haven't made any other progress on it due to the fact that I don't have decals for this. But if anyone knows of where I could find decals for a Victorian Railways VPFX or FX flower hopper wagon, then please let me know in the comments. And then these are the steam era models AW cars. The only thing I've done to these is I put new couplers on them, so I put some KD Longshank couplers, and they're now ready to go. So all I need to do is sort out the running, add some weight to these, and then they'll be ready for paint. But other than that, no further progress has been made on any of these. But I have done a lot of progress on other pieces of rolling stock, as well as locomotives, so we'll get into those now. Alright, so I'm just going to quickly talk about my Powerline T-Class. Now, this is featured in several videos of mine already, but this is probably going to be the last time you see it in an update. So what I've actually done to this is I've gone back and touched up the weathering. Now, when I originally weathered this model, I actually missed quite a few areas. Like, for example, this whole top portion was all missed. Where the exhaust stack is, I had completely missed that with the soot, and also the underframe was too brown. There needed to be a little bit more black in there, so I've gone in and I've added all that stuff, and it looks easily 10 times better. I'm very, very happy with how the bogies and this battery box came out. What I really like about it is that it has the effect of a oily spill, I guess you could say. So has like an oily finish over the bogies, and also this battery box here. Fuel tank, nice and grimy obviously. These grills came out good, nice and grimy they are. Especially the exhaust stack. No idea how well light picks that up, but yeah, you can see the exhaust fumes and gases around the exhaust stack. This grill has been darkened up, and pretty much the same on the other side. And then moving to the front, front's a lot nicer now. When I weathered this originally, that was all still pristine and clean. That's now nice and dirty. And overall, I think it turned out a lot nicer than how it previously looked. So yeah, anyways, let's get into more rolling stock action. Alright, so this is my latest locomotive acquisition. Now, you've all seen this before, plenty of times in various videos. So this is a Lima B-Class, specifically B84 in the dipped in orange livery. This is a limited edition run that Lima did back in the 80s or 90s, whenever it was when they released this. And very nice model, and I really, really like it. Now, since the video that I did of the review, I've actually added KD knuckle couplers, KD number 5s I think they were, and this can now pull all my rolling stock without any issues, although it struggles to pull my grain train because only one bogie is powered basically. So when it comes to the grain train, I usually use my T-class to haul that, although this will have no issues hauling any other rolling stock around the layout. So it's a nice model, and one thing I will like to point out, when you buy these Lima locomotives, they can be a little bit hit and miss running wise, so make sure you keep the wheels clean, keep the motor clean, keep everything clean, as well as the track, of course. That way these run really good. I do plan to do a full detailing and weathering project to this, although I still need to buy a few things before I do that. But that will come, and of course there will be a video series on it. So that's my Lima B, and I also forgot to mention, it's also been DCC fitted now, so I can run this with my T. So really happy with this model, and what we'll do is we'll get it detailed and weathered eventually. Alright, so onto the rolling stock now. So I'm going to talk about these two here. Now, you've all seen these before, although when you saw these were unpainted and unweathered. Since that update in February, they're now painted using scale model supply VR red for the body, and then Humbrol number 29 dark earth for the roof on the Z van, and then just standard matte black for the chassis, and then the U van was just painted all red as per prototype. So anyways, these turned out really good. I've also weathered them as well. I didn't do a video on them, although I would like to do a video on weathering 4-wheel and 6-wheel rolling stock, and these are probably some of the best weathering that I've done, particularly this Z van. I'm so pleased with how this Z van came out. Of course, I followed photos of weathering, so I made sure to weather them appropriately and prototypically, and overall these just both came out really good, especially this Z van. So very pleased with those, and they're now a nice addition to the rolling stock fleet. Alright, so moving on, I've actually weathered my Powerline S cars. Now these were a lot of fun to do, and again these were weathered off prototype photos to make sure everything was done correctly. So underframe got a dusting of Humbrol 29 dark earth, and then this tank here got some black wash to highlight the details, and then where the doors are, I've added some black wash to simulate dirt around the doors, and then the roof got a nice coating of grime, done some streaking effect with like some weathering powders, and then the ends of the wagons got some nice spray of dirt, as I don't think those ends were cleaned very well when these were in service. And overall, these just turned out really good. Now this is only one of them, the other two are up on the layout, and they're pretty much weathered the same as this one. But overall, very pleased with how the S cars came out, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably see these on my Instagram, so I'll leave a link to my Instagram in the description below, so please feel free to follow that. But yeah, overall, these turned out great, and I'm really pleased with them. Right, so continuing on with the weathered rolling stock projects, next one up is a Powerline Models VHSY hopper wagon. Now this has a video on how I weathered it, so please feel free to check that out if you're interested. And this is one that I'm really proud of, especially the streaking going up and down the side of the wagon body itself. That actually turned out really good. So basically this has been weathered to represent a wagon that carries cement, as I don't think this is a real prototype. I don't think it's based off a real prototype, so it's a freelance model, so I can weather it according to however I like. Although when I did weather this, I did have a little bit of a look at similar wagons just to gain a bit of inspiration. So a fair bit of work has been done to this, so got steam era bogies, got various other decals applied to it to sort of spruce it up a bit, make it a little bit more nicer. Handrails have been added, those are just using brass wire, as well as KD knuckle couplers. And overall, weathering turned out really good, and it's a nice wagon to have in the fleet, and it runs really nicely as well. So I do hope to get maybe 2 more of these, and then basically do the same to those other 2 that I did on this one. So that's something we can do for the future perhaps. Alright, so moving on to other rolling stock projects. That's all the weathered stuff that I've talked about out the way now. So other rolling stock projects include this Linden's Trains VHJA gypsum hopper wagon. So this is my first Linden's Trains kit. Very nice kit to put together by Linden's Trains. The instructions are a little bit not so good, although I'll still able to follow them, that is. And this kit turned out okay, although I did make a few mistakes. One mistake I made was when I attached the bogies, I didn't drill out the holes, so as I tried to screw the bogies into the chassis actually split ever so slightly. But I was able to fix that. But anyways, the wagon turned out okay, and the paintwork could do with a little bit more work, although I do plan to weather this model, so I should hopefully hide any imperfections in the paint. Now if we look inside the wagon, you'll also notice that I've got these pieces here. Now these are just pieces of sprue that I've glued to the inside of the wagon, and those will actually hold the wagon load when I get around to making one, and there will be a video on making wagon loads, so look out for that. So then this is the other side, this is the more detailed side, so it's got ladder and other various details. It's got KD knuckle couplers, KD number 5s I think they are. And then this is the other side, pretty much same as this side here. These are the underside. Now this was a little bit of a pain to paint, as it's got these deep areas here, so I had to get the airbrush in and really get paint on those. But overall, it turned out okay. Well, unfortunately there is a big fat thumb print on the side here. No idea how well you can see that, but hopefully that will get covered over with a bit of weathering. But overall, it turned out okay, and I think it's a nice wagon. Alright, so moving on. So this is a Paul's 3D Prints low roof CW. So this is actually a wagon that I picked up at the Caulfield Model Train exhibition, and yes, I have done a video on that. So if you're interested, please feel free to check that out. So Paul's 3D Prints offers a range of 3D printed Victorian Railways and also a bit of South Australian prototype wagons in HO and also N scale. So I picked this up from the Paul's 3D Print stand for $35, which is an absolute bargain, as on his Facebook page, which I will leave a link to in the description, he sells these for $45, so $10 off, not too bad. And it's pretty much now ready to go for paint. I've added my own brass handrails. Excuse the noise in the background, that's just my dad with the whippersnipper. And steam era bogies have been added, as it doesn't come with any bogies. And KD long shank couplers have also been added for good running. Now, the body is not attached to the chassis, as I still need to add glazing, and still in the testing phase. This is the chassis. I've added various weights to it, so just things I was able to find in my dad's shed. And overall, it runs pretty good, although it does derail occasionally, although that's to be expected with everything these days when you buy stuff. Nothing ever runs perfect. So yeah, overall, this turned out really nice. I still need to do a little bit of sanding to the roof to get it to be nice and smooth. And then once I do that, it's pretty much ready for paint. So this turned out good, and if you're interested in Paul's 3D Prints, then I will leave a link to his Facebook page in the description of this video. Alright, so on to the last pieces of kit built rolling stock that I've completed or gotten. So these are some steam era models VHGF grain wagons. Now with these ones, these turned out a lot nicer than my first ones that I made, partly because I airbrushed them, and secondly, paint turned out a lot nicer. So basically, I decided to make these two here a little bit different to this one here. So these ones here are actually VR liveried ones, as you can see. So these are actually, I'd like to point out, these are actually the latest release of Grain Wagon by Steam Era Models, and in that release they don't include VR decals, which I feel is a bit of a shame, as there's probably some people that want to model some VR ones. Although when I did my other three that I got originally, those came with VR decals, as those were the older ones, and when I built those ones I didn't use the VR decals, so I decided to make this one and then the one in the background here a VR one, and then this one V-line grain. So overall they turned out pretty good, and I'm relatively happy with these. All I need now is just a bit of weathering, although that will be something that I definitely do in the future. Alright, so moving on to my latest ready to run rolling stock acquisitions. So I've got 4 of these V-line freight VHGF grain hoppers. Now these are made by Powerline models. Very nice they are, very nicely detailed. And picked these up at the Diamond Creek model train show in April of this year. So very nice models these are by Powerline, and they run very nicely around the layout. Now these are particularly difficult to get a hold of now, especially the ones in this livery, although Powerline at the end of this year, early next year, are actually going to be doing a rerun of these wagons. Not in this livery unfortunately, but in the VR and V-line grain livery, so that's quite exciting to see, and yes, I'll definitely be getting some. Alright, so next up we have this beautiful Rail Motor Models VHQF Quarry wagon. Now I have 3 of these, and I picked these up from the Rail Motor Models stand at the Diamond Creek model train show of this year. Now I can't remember how much I paid for these, although if you check out the review that I did on these, then I'll probably mention that in that review, the price of these. So very nice models these are, and these run really good on my layout, and eventually we're going to be adding a load to these, so look out for a video on that. And overall they just feel really solid and well built, and they feel really good value. Now these are also available in kits, and personally I think it's better to buy the ready to run version, as it's only, I believe it's only $5 more than the kit, although the kit you have to buy bogies and couplers separately, so it's better to buy the ready to run wagon than it is to buy the kit, in my opinion that is, but do whatever makes you happy. So yeah, those are really nice wagons, and I'll definitely be getting some more. Alright, so next up we have these beautiful Oztrains Neo PL cars. Now these I picked up at the Diamond Creek model train exhibition in April for $250 for a 2-pack. So there's this one and then there's the other one. So the other one has the guards compartment on one of the ends, and very nice models by Oztrains Neo, and these actually now run on the layout. Now if you saw the review that I made about these, I didn't actually run them around the layout because, well, they couldn't basically. Problem is the bogies did not swivel enough to go around the sharp curves on my layout, and also the couplers that these came with were too short. So I believe the couplers that came with it, they only got up to about here where my little pointer is, although I've now fitted KD long shank couplers, and I've now modified the coupler box, which I will show. So if you look here, I don't know how well the light can point it out, but I've actually cut the coupler box back so that way the bogies have more swivel room, and installed KD long shank couplers. So overall these now run really nicely on the layout, and I do intend to get at least one more of these, and of course when I do I'll make a video on how I did this modification. And for those who want to know which couplings I used, it's the KD number 120, no, it's the KD number 26s are the ones that I used. So those are the ones that I used for this wagon, although other long shank couplers will also work just fine. So yeah, very nice models by Oztrains Neo, and eventually I will get into weathering these. Now for those of you who have watched my review videos on the various models that I've collected, you'll know that the workbench space actually changed ever so slightly, and that's because, as you can see, I actually have a brand new workbench. Now I say it's brand new, but it's actually quite old, this bench. This actually used to be my brother's desk, although he's now got himself a new desk. So rather than having this thrown out, I said, I'll have it. You're not throwing that out. I'm having it. And this has actually been extremely beneficial for me because it's meant I was able to store a lot of stuff, like a lot more stuff now I can store, because we not only got space up on these shelves here, but if we just pan you down, we've also got drawers as well. So I've got storage galore basically. So there's now heaps of storage in this workbench, and it is absolutely brilliant. So that's why the background of the review videos has sort of changed a little bit since since I got this new bench basically. So yeah, got the new bench and it's been absolutely brilliant, and I can store easily a lot more stuff on it. Alright, so just before we finish up this video, I would just like to point out that when we hit 600 subscribers, I will be doing a live stream. So if you want to see a live stream on this channel, and if you're new to it, then please hit the subscribe button, and when I hit 600 subscribers, I'll then do a live stream. So if that's something you want to see, then please hit the subscribe button. Alright, so that will be the end of today's video. So I'd like to thank everyone so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of this very long overdue layout update, and hopefully I'll be back relatively soon for the next one. So anyways, I'll leave a link to my social media sites in the description, so my Instagram and also my Facebook page, which I don't think I've actually mentioned before, but I do have a Facebook page, so I'll leave a link to that in the description. I'll also leave a link to all the various websites for the products that I've mentioned in this video, so I'll leave a link to Steam Era models, Powerline, SDS models, Paul's Ready Prints, and all the other websites that I've all the other products that have websites that I've mentioned in this video. So anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought, and as always, I'll see you all in my next video. So take care, stay safe, and have a nice day. Bye everyone.